Bonjour, c'est Papy Tom, le méchant guitariste des caches. Donc aujourd'hui, je vais vous présenter une vidéo, toujours dans le cadre de deux points, ouvrez les guillemets, ce n'est pas la peine de connaître le solfège pour faire de la musique, point d'exclamation.
Tais-toi.
Quoi? Ah non, mais il nous fait chier. Il nous embête, Fantomas.
Tais-toi.
Non, je me tairai pas, non. Non, je ne me tairai pas. J'ai bien le droit de dire ce que je veux quand même. Je dis ce que je veux.
C'est vrai ça.
Merci Merdoni. Donc je continue toujours dans le cadre de la vidéo où ce n'est pas nécessaire de connaître...
Tais-toi.
Bon, Fantomas, c'est bon, arrête tes conneries. Je peux dire ce que je veux.
C'est vrai ça.
Oui, je sais que ça c'est vrai.
Tais-toi.
Mais non, mais parce que... Oui, parce que...
Tais-toi.
Oh ben non, là, vous déconnez, là. Non.
C'est vrai ça.
Tais-toi.
C'est étudié pour.
Tais-toi.
Bon, je vais essayer d'en placer une. Je vais essayer.
Ah, il y en a qui ont essayé, ils ont eu des problèmes. Hein.
Oui, mais enfin là, si tout le monde s'y met, on va pas s'en sortir, là. Hein. Donc, bon. Stop. Je coupe un moment, je vais aller me chercher quelque chose. À tout de suite. À tout de suite.
C'est vrai ça.
Ça y est, j'ai coupé tout le monde. C'est pour vous dire que sur cette vidéo, c'est pas moi qui vais jouer. C'est Joe Bonamassa. Il a fait une petite démo que j'ai trouvée par hasard sur YouTube, où il explique sa façon de jouer, qui est, je ne veux pas être prétentieux, mais qui est très proche de la mienne. Hein. Il joue sur des grilles, il y a des accords qu'il fait qu'il ne connaît pas le nom, comme moi. Il dit qu'il faut prendre du plaisir, il faut jouer sur le manche pour connaître les notes. Enfin, vous allez voir. C'est pour ça que j'ai voulu mettre cette petite démo de Joe Bonamassa. Il explique plein de trucs. Bon, je trouve que c'est un mec super, c'est un super guitariste. Et vous allez voir que dans le jeu qu'il fait, c'est il joue sur une grille, Papy Tom, traditionnelle, en mi. Et quand vous connaissez les notes sur lesquelles vous pouvez jouer, vous pouvez faire n'importe quoi comme Joe Bonamassa. Eh bien, j'espère que ça vous plaira. Poil au bras. En attendant, moi, puisqu'il n'y a plus personne, je vais m'en servir un petit verre. Ciao, bye, à plus. Salut les X-Men, salut les caches, à bientôt. Rock and roll, yes.
L'alcool, non, mais l'eau ferrugineuse, oui.
Au même titre que John Mayer ou Derek Trucks, Joe Bonamassa fait partie de ces jeunes virtuoses trentenaires qui procurent un nouveau souffle de fraîcheur au blues. Entrevue avec ce guitariste au toucher hors du commun et qui possède le don rarissime d'être doté de la même voix que Kermit la Grenouille.
Hi, this is Joe Bonamassa, and welcome to Guitar Parts DVD. We're here in Paris. We're having a good time today, and we decided to grab a Joe Bonamassa Les Paul. This is actually the one that's in the magazine. It's been passed around a bit, this one. And talk a little bit about a few techniques and styles that I used on my new album. Comes out. Just came out called The Ballad of John Henry. So let's talk a little bit about phrasing. Let's just talk a little bit about a few licks and some articulation stuff, and keep it kind of simple. Most commonly asked questions like, Joe, how do you make a regular 12-bar blues a little bit different? Well, there's a couple ways to do it. I use a lot of these inside chords, and I employed this a lot on my last album. So normal 12-bar blues, if you want to get uber basic, it's like. So let's not even go there because that's Mel Bay Book 1 stuff. Let's try something different. So here it is. This is the way I would play 12-bar blues. So that's kind of a basic 12-bar blues. A lot of these chords that I use, like some of these inside things, I learned from a guy named Danny Gatton, and this is pretty good stuff to know. Don't ask me to name them because I have no idea what they are, but this is how I use them. Yeah, like chords like that. It's basically substitutions for using the whole, like just kind of like block fives and whatever. So. Substitute for a B7, or I just go. So that's pretty much the blues element, and it's a lot of it is like just kind of like messing around with just different places to play stuff. We'll just take a simple riff. All of them have their uses, I kind of like really like to do stuff like on the lower strings, So I mean that's the kind of stuff that I prefer, and you just. Because remember, guitar is a pretty tactile instrument. If I ask you to play an E chord or an E note or anything, it's basically you're going to play it differently than I would, and vice versa. None of it's right or wrong. It's all subject to taste and your own personal experience. So those are the kind of things that I like to employ. Like it doesn't even have to be like a fast riff. It just just finding different ways to play something. In different ways, and kind of like putting everything to blocks. I mean, I learned guitar in blocks, like in the key of E. So I learned how to play in the key of E in every fret. So the way to demonstrate is. And there you go. Slowly and a little bit more, basically to learn is like, it's like you're here, here's your 12th fret, repeated it first, so when I started up here, I know I have a block here. So then you have another block here. There's another block here. Something like that. Then you have the repeat of a here, but you can do different stuff. And that's basically E. And then you move on to F, and then you move on to F sharp and G, and stuff like that. But that's really the key to getting out of a jam. If you're playing live and you're playing some 12-bar, and all of a sudden your hand, you find yourself here. You go, oh, what am I going to do in the key of E here? You just go, over, and if you just kind of get stuck or you stumble, you just know how to kind of like play yourself out of it. It's like being in a car and you go into a spin. You don't stop or slam on the brakes. You just keep moving, and eventually you kind of get your momentum back. So that's kind of how I learned the guitar. And there's a lot of different influences. There's blues, there's classical, there's jazz, there's straight up rock and roll. There's country. I learned this guy Danny Gatton, a tremendous guitar player and friend of mine when I was a kid, taught me all about this, the double stop like country stuff, and it comes in handy in your regular out of country playing. All that kind of stuff I learned from him. And he would teach me licks like... But he also taught me about players. He taught me about Wes Montgomery. He taught me about Howard A. Reed from Gene Vince and the Blue Caps band. He taught me about Jimmy Bryant and lots of guys. So I listened to a lot of players, and it all kind of goes into my kind of pot of influences. And hopefully what happens is, over the course of years and months and tireless practicing and stuff like that, it becomes for you that you'll be able to kind of develop your own style and your own bends, and a lot of that has to do with your bending and it's in your phrase. Your phrasing is what I meant to say. So basically, everybody has a style, like a phrasing style, like B.B. King. 2 notes, it's him. Eric Clapton. It's him. Paul Kossoff had the same thing. And Jeff Beck has those kind of like overbendy. So everybody has their own thing, and what you try to do is what you want to keep in mind is just to not copy anybody else, but just take some of their phrasing, ingratiate it with yours, and hopefully it comes out to sound like yourself. So I hope you learned something. I know I covered all this really fast. I'm not a great guitar teacher. I said this before and I'll say it again. Good luck with everything. Thank you for all your support here in France. We've been very honored by it, and until next time, enjoy.